clause worthy of his name, which is Corey Jackman.
Wow, essay doesn't make it sound very exciting at all. To be honest, I actually didn't know for real until last night what I was going to be reading, which is why the title Travelogue is on there. That's not the real title. I travel a lot, as some of you know. In 9 years, I've been to 38 countries and 6 continents, and I write a travelogue back home to friends, family, wherever I go. And I was trying to decide what would be the best thing to share, and something funny, something memorable, something I wasn't sure. And I finally decided on something that hopefully there would be a message somewhere in there that would touch people right away, that would hopefully affect the way we act right after this. So this is called Reflections and Reminders from Auschwitz, January 12th, 2012. This place is so familiar that I know I've been here before. I've been here in Germany, in Cambodia, and Rwanda. I've visited in photos and stories and statistics. It's always the same. It's always new. It's always raw. We pass under those infamous words of twisted metal and cross into the roll call area, where daily prisoners were forced to stand for up to 12 hours at a time, in rain and snow, until all were accounted for. We pass by the gallows, the execution courtyard, Block 10, where the so-called Angel of Death performed his medical experiments. We walk past room after room containing the vestiges of human cruelty, piles and piles of rusted cyanide canisters, and children's shoes and hair shorn off corpses and bound for tailor shops. I visit the gas chambers. I've been here before in Dachau, but that doesn't help. That doesn't stop me from trying to imagine the scene of 1,000 people packed into a dark room the size of a racquetball court, from trying to get inside each and every one of their heads as the gas pours out, and trying to imagine what I would do in those final moments. I step next door where there are 3 ovens, tracks, and carts in front of each. Within a year, this wasn't efficient enough, and they opened up 4 more chambers in the camp next door. But as always, it's not what happened here, but whom it happened to, that breaks my resolve and finally moves me to tears. It's a face of Iwa Nickpon, whose fear pierces through her wrinkles. And Joseph Kazak, a Polish carpenter 10 years younger than I. It's the helplessness smeared across the face of a Jewish father as his wife and kids are ripped away from him. The emaciated body of a 2-year-old, a triplet who underwent medical experimentation, and a 10-year-old whose twin died shortly after liberation. The kids staring from behind the barbed wire, their eyes make it clear that there is no forgetting. Some faces are already beaten. Some reflect only terror. Some, like Teofil Ziana, a member of the resistance, hold their heads up high. And I cling to that meager amount of pride for that small act of rebellion, because in a place like this that heralded so much death, that is all there is to cling to. And I know their faces will be forever etched in my mind, but I still find myself trying to write down as many names as I can, because I tell myself, if I can say, Miriam Grabowski, I remember you, it'll make some difference. My students and I were discussing human nature a few weeks ago, and how it's not the Hitlers and Mother Teresas of the world that inform our beliefs about it. To me, Hitler's a mere person, a voice. It's not him that shapes my faith in humanity. It's a fact that countless others made the decision to follow that voice. It's a fact that a guard could murder a dozen prisoners and still go home and hug his daughter. A doctor who swore to protect human life could send a swath of naked old women to the showers with a flick of his wrist. It's a fact that we can learn so much about what happened, the massacres at Auschwitz and Dachau and Tolstoy in Rwanda, and still insult the memory of all who died there by treating people like shit, just because we had a bad day. Because to me, Auschwitz is not some static memorial that we can hold at arm's length, some simple reminder of what the Nazis did to gypsies and Jews and Poles and gays. It's a reminder of what happens when everyday, ordinary people use fear and anger and ignorance to dehumanize. It's a reminder that how we treat our neighbor at the grocery store or half a world away makes a difference. Genocide never starts with the gas chambers. Over the years, a number of people have questioned, sometimes caustically, why I would ever visit places like this on my vacations. Sometimes I snap back that I never got a passport to isolate myself. Other times I say, looking away from wars like this are how they happen in the first place. But I think that deep down, I go to these places to prove to myself that my faith in humanity, my long, strong-held belief that people are truly good at heart, is not based on some sheltered platitudes or by turning away. I need to know that I can go to a place like Auschwitz and still believe with all of my being that the good in this world far outshines the bad. That the cruelty exhibited in places like this stands out not because it's the rule, but because it's the exception. I know that that good is not a given. It's a responsibility. And I know that those exceptions will always feel raw, will always shake my faith, will always move me to tears. And that's okay. Because I know in the end, all those moments of doubt will be overcome by the memories of all the kindness and compassion and amazing people I have encountered in my 30 years. All those simple, everyday courtesies that constantly remind me there is so much good in this world. And so I step back under that twisted metal with tears in my eyes, but with an emotion that laughs in the face of Hitler and hate and all who would subscribe to them. I leave Auschwitz with hope.